this video, you will learn how to create responsive resize and content overlay using Adobe XD. These two features will enable you to resize the object size automatically and maintain spatial relationship at different sizes to be able to adapt to multiple size for all interface website design. Let's assume you have done designing user interface for all application and the client decided to change the size for the application. So the designer will change each element inside this interface one by one. What I mean is, if for example, current artboard size that I have here, if you double click at it, you can see width is 360 point and the height is 758 point. The current artboard size I have right now. If suddenly the client decided to change into a different file size, artboard size, for an example, iPhone 14 Pro, which the size comes 393 times 852 point. So let's try to change the size for iPhone Pro in this file section. So the width will be 1393 times by the height is 852, and basically the enter. There are a lot of things that designer have to edit it manually, as in a search bar. We need to adjust it manually, or perhaps control to undo all selections, and you just resize everything that you have in the interface. But what happened later, you will identify that there are a lot of spacing going on in this particular layout, which means that you have to manually adjust the position to the bottom one by one, which is time consuming. And in Adobe XD, there's this one feature which is known as responsive size. So how to apply this responsive size in case of there's a changes of output size. It's an interface design. So let's Control C to undo the previous action that we have done. Goes back to the normal size. So this is a normal size previously, which is, if you double click at it again, just to double check, 360 times by 758 point. So to have a responsive size, which will ensure that whenever you resize it will automatically change the whole element inside of it according to your desired file size. So in this case, what you have to do is go to the property inspector on your right. Under the layout here, there's a responsive resize. Comes with a button that you need to click at it to enable this feature. So just click enable. So once you have enabled this button, click at this artboard name selection, and again, just to double check the iPhone 14 profile size, 393 times 852, and just fill it out here. For the width is 393 times by, you will identify the moment I have included the width size, automatically Adobe XD has expanded width for the latest output size. And now let's include the height size, which is 8.2, and hit the enter button, and voila, Adobe XD has done on your behalf is it automatically resized the whole component, including the hamburger button, search button, images, as well as body content, and the button at the bottom here we have. So if let's say you a little bit unsatisfied with the changes, as in there's a lot of empty space in the middle corner here, you can just still edit it manually, just adjust the position without having to do so much about it compared to before you apply the features of responsive resize in your interface. Being a user interface designer sometimes can stress you out, especially when you encounter such a last-minute changes for the copy or content for your interface. Content-aware layout in Adobe XD is a lifesaver where you do not have to manually adjust your user interface elements. Content-aware layout totally understands the relationship between object on your artboard, and it will automatically make layout adjustment as soon as your design change. So for an example, in this demonstration, I have Buy Now button, which is created from a rounded rectangle in orange color, followed by simple text as in Buy Now, which is very straight to the point. But let's assume that at the very last minute, client decided to add more information on this button. For an example, Buy Now before December. Now, what happened is the button orange at the back doesn't follow the changes that you have added on this button. So what UI designer had to do manually is they need to expand this button to follow the text that becomes longer from previously. This might seem easy because we only have one user interface, but let's imagine if you are creating for the whole mobile application, which consisting of 100 user interface, and you have to do it all. These kind of changes, it will be very time consuming and you're going to waste a lot of time. And in Adobe XD, it totally understands the UI designers' issues when it comes to all these very last minute changes. Hence, it introduced the features which is known as content-aware layout. So for an example, in this case, let's undo, Ctrl-Z to undo the previous action. In order for you to apply the content-aware layout, you have to make sure your current button, your Buy Now button here, is in a component mode. How to do that? Make a selection, both of your text and also your button, right-click, and make component, or the shortcut is Control key. Component refer to elements such as icon, fit, shape that you will reuse throughout your design. Click at Make Component and you will notice that the green outline will appear with the diamond shape on the top left corner here. Once you click Make Component, you will notice on Property Inspector on your right corner here, under the Responsive Resize, there's an option for stacking and padding. Click at the padding and select all padding values. Now you can make changes for your text. Double click at it. Now I will add Buy Now before December. Now you will notice that the features is totally lifesaver where you don't have to manually edit the size of the button one by one, and this content-aware layout understand that the text is getting longer. Hence, there's a requirement for the other elements to follow it accordingly. In this case, the moment I typed the before December, it started to expand slowly for the button at the back. In the next lesson, you will learn about repeat grid and component.